Hello, friends. So many of you would have, seen your results and you would be thinking about what to do next. So for anyone who has cleared this examination, see, the basic necessities are optional paper is the most important. The second is the optional paper, which is the most important. The third is the optional paper, which is the most important. See, for I am not, this is not something which I am making up, because as I in the previous video also I have spoke about it. This examination, if you see, will be decided based on the optional score that you get, or essay G. So the sequence is like this: your optional paper is the most important, the second is your essay, the third is your GS paper 4, and then comes 2 3, or 1 2 3. So if you see, so if you can ask whether 1 2 3 is not important, actually 1 2 3 is very important, in the sense that these are papers which will stabilize your score. These are papers, if you see, we should not take it for granted. Or you can think about this as family. Okay, usually family we take for granted, but family is very important. Family is the base from which you can do things. But your optional paper or your GS paper, or sorry, or your essay paper and GS paper 4, this trio, and especially optional paper, this is something which you are pursuing as your goal. See, your family is very important, but at the same time, your goal is the primary important. This is where the last minute your rank list or whatever comes, this will be the most effective part. And this is the first thing I wanted to say. The second thing is that, see, if anyone is trying for more attempts, for example 3-4 attempts, please have this in your mind that you reinvent yourself. See, there will come a point where your mind will get plateaued. See, we may assume that we have studied things and we will just with the same information go inside the hall. This is a detrimental thing for your essay paper, GS paper 4 and other things. For optional, you please increase your potential or increase your accuracy for having more points added to it. For GS paper 1, GS paper 2, essay and GS paper 4, think about reinventing yourself. What do I say by reinventing means, just by the same information, don't load your paper. I think people who have written the examination 3 or 4 times, they might understand. There will be stock points with you. Imagine yourself writing only the stock points that you have. I'm asking you to go for points which you can incorporate from newspaper reading as well. If you are, for example, yesterday I read about three cases related to the governor sending the bill back. Actually, we can add that. Or the sedition law, if you see Kedarnath case, we can add that. Have an attitude of giving a new thing into the GS paper 1 2 3 and essay. Add more things to your optional paper. So this is what for people who are writing this time is the most important thing. Please don't waste your time worrying about DAF. People keep thinking about what do I fill in that. See, assume that you are filling the not so great things. That is not going to affect you when you are going to go for interview. What is going to affect you when you are going for interview is the mains mark, and especially the optional mark. So if you imagine yourself inside the hall giving interview, you should have a strong mains base. So this is what I wanted to talk about people who are giving mains this time. But for others, okay, see, now you may think that the world has fallen, or you may think that, see, I read somewhere that just get on with your life. Nobody is going to listen to you. Your failure does not matter to anyone, so you have to get on with your life. Chill, man. Or man up, something like that. Men will be men, something kind of thing. See, I am not a person who is, who subscribes to that view of just just get yourself up and you have to do your things. Your failure, no one is going to listen to your failures or stuff like that. See, I have friends for example. So I'm not a person, see, I have friends like that. Okay, very close friends who said the same words when I, when I when I could not clear every time. So I know for a fact that people will say this, but you know what? Your story matters. You know what? This whole experience matters. You may not understand that whether this is important or not, but I say that, see, whether we clear this exam or not, going through this process once, I think would have given you a lot of, lot of things in life to look forward to. It would have changed you a lot. I say please embrace that. Okay, I say please embrace that. Please think about the fact that this exam has given you something, or given you an idea of how to look at this world in a newer direction. So think in those terms. For people who want to, want to continue, see, I am also not a person, a staunch believer in the fact that, you see, sky is the limit. You go and till the end. I was also a person like that. Okay, I was also a person who believed in the fact that till the last moment, so till my last attempt, last moment, when the results come, I'm not going to give up. So I did that. But I don't subscribe to that view. See, I subscribe to the views of, some certain other aspirants. For example, I think Ilam Bhagavat. I mean, people in Tamil Nadu would know this. See, I have not met him, but I know the scheme of things that he handled, in the sense that his approach was very practical or pragmatic. I actually can relate a lot to what he was saying. His approaches, for example, see, he goes from one group 2 to group 1, then UPSC. He says in one of the videos, see, that is the point. I'm not a friend of Ilam Bhagavat or something like that. See, I have listened to what he says. He's saying that be pragmatic. See, what group 2 gives you, that will strengthen your group 1 preparation. Group 1 preparation will strengthen your UPSC preparation. Don't stick on to an exam and get stuck. Actually, this is a valid point. If you see, we actually get stuck in one preparation. Now, for example, you check yourself. Now it is June, so till next May the time is there. We will do, what we are going to do. We will decide that we are going to go for preliminary examination, and we will start doing different things. People will say, join, see, some module. Why don't you do this module? Why don't you do that module? Something like that. But we will actually lose out on the preparation strategy as a whole. We will be doing something here, something there, not completing a particular portion, you doing some option, one topic. This will create a lot of chaos. And this is where I say that Ilam Bhagavat was, a step ahead in the thinking that he had. And one of my friend, actually Balaji, so I have referred to him in several videos. Okay, several videos. I have, without giving any copyright or some without giving any credit to him, I have used his name several times, because see, my ideology of this examination was to, clear prelims. That's it. But Ilam Bhagavat or Balaji, they had a different approach to this exam. They saw this as an exam. They saw this as a step forward. For example, Balaji used to write bank exam, or he used to clear RBI, or then what he did, he cleared RBI, then he cleared DSP group 1, then he cleared IRS. See, it was a step-by-step process. Joginder, one of my other friend, see, he cleared first he cleared SSC, then he cleared SBI, then he cleared IRS or RBI IRS. See, these were steps which they took. But if you see, whether my idea of sticking on to one thing was correct. See, I don't want to confuse anyone, because I am a very staunch believer in the fact that if you are fixed on something, if you think that you have this pole star as your UPSC. For example, I used to do that only, and it actually worked. See, both the example which I gave, Ilam Bhagavat, or there are two sets of views in this examination. One is Ilam Bhagavat's, and one I am saying is where I am saying I did this examination till the very end. But if you happen to see, both are actually correct. Both will have their pros and cons. Like, GS paper 4, you have to think about the pros and cons of both these things. But I would even go to the extent of saying that if you are thinking about Ilam Bhagavat styles of or clearing this examination, that is also good. But if you are thinking about UPSC is what I like, UPSC is what I will do. So see, I can empathize with that fact, that why you are thinking, because I was one such person. So if you are doing that, you have to decide one more fact. You have to decide how you are going to be organized. You have to decide that you cannot become chaotic. You have to decide that you cannot you do something here, you do something there, a test batch here, a test batch there, joining a test batch, writing 2 tests. No, it's not going to help. If you are thinking that you are going to give this examination this time or next time, or you have civil services as your passion for life, then you have to be organized, and you have to challenge yourself. What is the meaning of challenge is that, see, you have to think about books that will challenge you. I will give you an example of in anthropology. Ember and Ember, there is a book called as Ember and Ember. People don't read that book thinking that they have some notes or something. UPSC has evolved. See, anthropology as a subject is an evolution. It talks about evolution. You have to evolve. UPSC asks questions from Ember and Ember. They are asking, thinking, or they are making people think inside the hall. So we have to be a person who is ready for that out there. So other subjects also, you think about it, you have to do the same thing. You have to organize yourself. You have to make yourself equipped for writing, your optional paper. But the fact is that, as I said, you have to be organized. How do you organize yourself? Think about this till December. Take your time till December. Make yourself comfortable. Okay, have a strict regime. Okay, like a military regime. You have to think about this whole process of 6 months, with such a kind of high, conviction. And you can think whether it is possible or not. See, human beings are the only species who can do this. We are the only species who can sit at one point for a particular cause for 30 years. Nelson Mandela was in the jail for 30 years for what? For a particular cause. If Nietzsche, okay, the philosopher Nietzsche says, if you know, or if you know why you are living, here, if you know what is the purpose of living, you can bear how much ever problem comes. The point is that you have to first make yourself mind up. This is why I am there. This is what I am going to do. For me, what I used to see, that is the point. See, they had this equal intervals of group 1, group 2, or bank, and something like that. See, I did not have any continuity of, or stage by stage analysis. I had this one pole star. Okay, I had this one pole star where always my ship was directed towards that pole star, that north pole star. UPSC was that. So I'll plan my days not according to this month, next month. No, I'll plan my days for Let us assume that if I'm going to give the prelims next year, so the next year I'm going to give interview. So my plan, I will plan for 2 years. See, I will make everything aligned with that. My personal life, my social life, my health, or studies, or whatever thing may be. If you see, people have asked this several times. They will ask, see, you are going to write the examination 2 years later. What are you going to do? See, but the point is that we have to make ourselves accustomed to the fact that 2 years down the line, I am going to clear this. So for that, what I'm going to do? So for that, what I said is, for anthropology, if anyone wants to start, and if you have missed out on some topics, you would have had breaks. But what I would say is that you start with that. Challenge yourself. There should be second novelty in your approach. See, 2 years down the line, as I said, human beings are the only species who can, sit and wait for something. See, you take any other species, a lion, you keep food, you tell that the lion don't eat that food for 2 years. I'll give you an IAS. Will that lion listen? Or you tell a chimpanzee, I'll give this banana after 2 years. If you are waiting for 2 years, I'll make you an IAS. The chimpanzee will not listen. No God will listen. Okay? Human beings are the only species. You are the only person who can wait for 2 years to accomplish something which you believe in. But if you are believing in that, you have to have a process. And that process is what I am saying. Start with new things. Okay, start with new things, with the syllabus, with the question paper. And for anthropology, as I said, ember and ember. Regularly, you have to regularly read. This is where, I ask sincerely to read newspaper. Newspaper is what connects you with this exam. If you think about many of the, see, human beings are a ritualized animal. We belong to a ritualized culture. What is the meaning of that is that we practice ritualization. Or see, you imagine any scenario, you imagine a religion, you go to a temple, there will be a ritual. This month you are the Adi Masam, something like that. Why do they have that? Do you really think that it is true? Do you really think that God has made all these things? It's a ritualized process for organizing an animal called as Homo sapiens. That is what you have to do for 2 years if you believe in this exam. If you really want this exam, you have to ritualize yourself. You have to have a plan. You have to have, this is the time I'm going to read. This is the time I'm going to sleep. This is the time I'm going to, or play cricket. Maybe see, every Sunday I used to play cricket. Whatever, see, if rainfall comes, thunderstorm comes, we'll play rain, we'll play in the rain. That is how much you have to visualize it. And the point is that is what happens, or that is what is called as institutionalization. Or you would have seen, Shawshank Redemption. In the jail, those two people becomes institutionalized. Shawshank Redemption, if you have not seen, see that. Because in my ritualization, I had watching movies as a process also. Even students, for example, ask me, see, in the classes, why do you quote this many, while talking about some topic, I usually think about movies. While talking about something, I talk about some movie or a reference where a song comes or something like that. That is because in my ritualized process, in my process of preparation, I had this 2 year, 2 year goal of going to the interview, but I used to challenge with new things. As I said, new books, I used to challenge, but I also had a process where I had time for recreation. That recreation usually did not amount to going out. That was for watching movies. You can have this recreational things in your ritual so that it takes you a longer time. And the point which I said was, reading newspaper connects you to this exam. It is a process, or it is a ritual. See, you think of newspaper as just a content. Reading material once a month is not a ritual, but reading newspaper every day, that becomes your class. See, you would have seen in GS paper 4, classical conditioning. What is the meaning of classical conditioning is that you get conditioned. So for example, whenever you start reading newspaper, if you then turn yourself to some topic, let us assume that you see a newspaper article on governor, you turn yourself to a chapter on governor, that becomes a ritualization. Okay, that becomes what you are. And if you see, whenever that becomes classical conditioning. So whenever you are with a book, whenever you are with a newspaper, when you read an article, immediately you go to the book. See, I'm not making this up. I used to have several rituals like this. I used to have, for example, drinking tea. Okay, whenever I drank tea, classical conditioning. Okay, this is what is called as classical conditioning. Whenever I drink tea, the next moment, 2 hours I will read. So whenever, if I am drinking tea, I'll or drinking coffee, I will read for 2 hours. This was there with me for the continuous 10 years. So you also have to have some visualization. And the next last thing which I wanted to say was, see, that is what, read new things. The books which I said, you can challenge yourself with books systematically, regularly, read newspaper. That is what makes you a ritualized person. That is what will help you, to move. That is what, again, I will repeat, here one topic, there one topic, here one test batch, there one test batch, writing one test, two tests till December, writing or reading one chapter in optional will not help. Complete your option by December, complete the syllabus of prelims by December. By the time you reach January, you have to get ready for preliminary examination. So by that, what I am trying to say is that in this 6 months, which is going to be very hard for you, this is the time. For example, one time when it happened for me, I increased like 13-15 kilos. It was one of the most toughest time for me. This is going to be very tough for you as well. So if you are adopting the plan which I said, Ilam Bhagavat, it's well and good. But if you are adopting a plan like this, I am asking you to take care of yourself with rituals, not thinking of, see, test batches will not help. See, I have explained in the previous video also. Test batches, you will write 2 test batches, you will leave. But you think of completion in the holistic fashion for your option, for your GS also. So by the time you reach January, you should start your preparation for preliminary examination. At that time, you should not think about, no, I have not read history. I have not read, for example, medieval India. See, this is the time for you to challenge, as I said, challenge yourself. Read history, whatever book you want. New NCERT, read. Old NCERT, read. Is there any middle NCERT, read. Okay, old, new, in the middle, you read. This is the time that you do all these things, experiment all these things, and have your pole star as UPSC. See, I really like Abraham Lincoln, or the person as a whole inspires me. Once there was a question on UPSC, they asked me, see, don't you get bored? Okay, don't you get bored of writing this many times? They asked me this in the interview, just like a fun. But if you see, if you want something, you spend your time, so people might have said that, see, you might have cried or something like that, people might have said, see, men don't cry. My friends, that is the point. See, that's this hustle culture, men don't cry. It's true fact. See, it's a true fact that, men don't have that tear duct. Actually, women have a little bit of tear duct. Men don't have that. So they cannot cry that much. But this examination, has also made me cry sometimes. Okay, made me cry in the sense that is how I realized that this exam means so much to me. If you don't cry for something, do you really think that means something to you? We cry for things which mean. Okay, if you're not crying, that means that that doesn't mean anything. So if you are also in that fact, I would say that, see, Lincoln, why I said was, there was a moment in the life of Lincoln. Okay, he was 33 or 34. He was broke. He did not have that much money, and he lost his, see, at the age of 26, he loses the love of his life. 26, he loses her. Then what happens is that, see, at that moment itself, he becomes, depressed. Before that, see, at the age of 9 itself, he loses his mother. 26, she was very close to him. Then she loses in some, cholera or something like that. He used to go to the grave, her grave, every day. If there is a rain, he used to grow, and he used to have this umbrella. He used to say that, see, the water should not hit her. See, that is how much he was in 26. But when he came to 34, he completely broke down. He completely broke down. There was one other marriage which was fixed at that time. That also broke. He did not have money. He did not have, anything. Then what happened was, he locked himself in the room. He locked himself in the room, and he was like, see, his friends were so, they were afraid what he was going to do. He did not come outside of the room for 1 week or 2 weeks. His friends started removing razors, razors from his, maybe they thought that he was going to hurt himself. He does not come for 2-3 weeks, he does not come. But after that, he comes. He tells his closest friend, see, I have not done anything so that this world remembers me. This is what he says. I have not done anything till this world remembers me. I have to do that. I'll do that, and that will be the end of me. If you see, that was the end of him. The world remembers him for what he did, the liberation that he did. And that is why these people are great. These people are not great because they never broke down. Actually, hell broke down on them. These people, if you see their common, normal life, this giant who was there, the giant statured Abraham Lincoln, who we think as a great leader, he broke down in 34. If he had let him, he would have completely broke down. But that is why, he is so great. That is why, when somebody asked me in the interview, I actually said his example. See, people have undergone this kind of things and have changed the world. I am trying to think, for myself, for my passion, what you achieve, you should measure by what you. This is GS paper. What you achieve, you should measure by things what you lose. This is a GS4 question. How to write a GS4 question? This is how you write. Okay. I hope see, in the sense on the what kind of help this was, I do not know, but I just tried to speak out my mind. So whatever things, Elam Bhagavats or whichever example, all the examples are helpful examples that you can make your life and try to build your preparation for yourself. Thank you. All the best.